I saw some Sims 2 fans, and welcome back to my speed renovation. This is going to be a Christmas spooktacular. We're going to renovate the Pleasant View Community Church and Graveyard, and as you can see, I'm not sure exactly how we ended up where we are, but grab your favorite drink, get ready to build, and for some neighborhood gossip. As soon as I got in here, I realized, oops, there's some graves of dead people already here. There was a family pet. You see me throwing him off to the right, and that is the pet cemetery. We're not going to renovate that today. The other two dead Sims was Carlos Peterson and Jennifer Burb. We're going to get back to her because I have some interesting information about her death. There's lots of death in my game, and that's why we have a graveyard going on here. But this cute little church is for weddings because I also like to have neighborhood weddings. And so we had a cute little chapel going on, but I was really excited to do this build because our great custom content creators have come up with converting the new Sims 4 Life and Death expansion pack into some Sims 2 custom content. And so I was like, ooh, I get to update my graveyard. So this little addition that I am putting on the side of our church here, I wanted it to look like that it was a new addition onto an old church, but a nice place where we could mourn our dead. So I want to be able to put the casket in here and a place for our mourners. I know, tipsy mommy, your brain at Christmas time, but that is where my mind space was. If you are enjoying my content, take a moment to like and subscribe. And if you have building tips, tricks, or ideas, please comment below. So I like the idea of this addition going along with the church, but kind of blending in with the church. So obviously we had to have gray siding, and you're going to see me mess around with a bunch of different window types. But of course, I had to go with my new custom content. I'm like a little kid with a new toy. I don't know if any of you are like that, but as soon as I get new content, I have to use it. So you're going to see me throw down a platform floor here. And that's because I needed like a raised floor, like a stage, because I want our caskets to be up on the stage. Like you would have maybe a service going on in this other room, and then the chairs on the floor. Now that I'm watching the playback, okay, bear with me. I get that I put the entryway right off the church chapel where we'd have the weddings. I know that's a little unfortunate, but I don't think we'd be having a wedding and a funeral all at the same time. So I'm going through a bunch of different wallpapers, and being the master builder, I know sometimes I'm the fire inspector and the zoning police, but right now I am the master carpenter of Pleasant View. And being the master carpenter that I am, we had to have matchy. So you see outside is gray, matches the gray stone, and inside is gray because obviously the inside of this old church was gray as well. And then I needed the floor nice and dark because even though it was a new addition, I wanted it to kind of match what was going on with the old fashioned church. So here we are. I'm having fun placing my new Sims 4:2 conversions in here. And I love how the casket already looks on my raised platform. And now I'm going to put some of the flowers around the casket. And you're going to see me mess with this and mess with some cheats. So I put in the 45-degree cheat so that you can place items on a 45-degree cheat. And I also put the cheat in here that's supposed to unlock things from the grid so I can put them wherever I want. And I don't know if it was the platform that was messing me up, but you'll see I keep moving things forward and moving things backwards and forward and backward. And it messed me up a bunch of times. But I think it ended up looking nice, even though I couldn't manipulate exactly where I wanted the items. And yeah, so I do want to put this podium, which does end up there later. You'll see it in the screenshots at the end, but it wouldn't work for me. So I'm going to go through looking at tons of other custom content. The way that I get the podium to work is I go in and put the cheat in and turn this lot into a residential lot. I go out, I put a podium in, and then I came back and turned it back in to a community lot. So it only took a little bit extra. I did not put that on the video because I actually did that later off camera. I was kind of messing around with different ideas and decided to do that off camera because it took me a couple of times to figure out exactly how to make that work. I love this little picture frame. This is another one of those Sims 4 conversions that you're supposed to put the frame on a table, and then whatever Sim has died, you would put that there as a memorabilia sort of thing in honor of the Sim that is in the casket, obviously. So I put these 3 stained glass windows on the back of the church, and you'll see later I do another addition off the back, and that becomes sort of my signature piece, is these green stained glass windows. Over here, I've decided that we need a doorway out. Some of that was obviously fire code. If you watch some of my other videos, I became the fire inspector and we need to be up to fire code. So you need an exit door off the side or the back of the church. And the other reason was I thought, you might need a breath of fresh air as you're crying. This was another neat thing. I raised the flowers onto the top of the casket so that you had the pretty floral arrangement. This does get a little bit macabre considering at the beginning I have all the Christmas music going. But yes, you needed flowers on top of your casket. And I do think it makes for a beautiful funeral. On the back here, this was another conversion piece that I thought looked good for a church. And you see, I just did that fade out because I spent so much time trying to put candles on it and nothing snapped. So we ended up with like a pretty little wreath in the back. And then here I wanted curtains, like black hanging curtains behind the casket, but it didn't work. So we just end up using the stained glass windows. And I went with those because I felt like there needed to be something back there. In a church, you'd have something ornate or cool on the back wall. And I just felt that that looked better. I did put a couple more flowers in the front of that part of the chapel. And later you'll see in some of the pictures, I end up with my podium that I wanted. And now I'm putting off to the side an area where you could come out and maybe sit and walk around the side of the church. And then I'm going to add some lighting and things like that. Things that you need outside of a church, because if you're walking around at a nighttime ceremony, I wouldn't want anybody to slip. And then, we might need another funeral because there is a lot of death that goes on in my game. Oh, before we talk about all the death in my game, so here are some other conversion pieces. This is the gravestones, the extra gravestones. Here is a crypt or a mausoleum. I'm not sure what they are. Now they're just empty pieces. You can't really use them in the game, but they looked cool. And I was like, oh, look, we could put new mausoleums behind the church or crypts. I had made other crypts off to the right-hand side, and I kind of liked my crypts. And I was like, let's keep my crypts because one of them is the Goth family crypt. And I was like, let's keep them. So I also like these neat little plots that have the name tags. And I was putting them for every family member that died. So you're going to watch me get rid of all the little fencing and the flowers. And so this was actually, this is going to sound a little bit horrible, but I have my Sim self family in here. So this is my parents' graves and their dog Buddy. So they had a nice little area over here. So each one of these is Sims that had died in my games, and they're going to each get like one of these nice little plots. And I do at one point put one of the fake graves in one, but then I decided I really like having my nice Sims. Now I was going to try this, but I couldn't get the grave to raise up. And this was a Sim that died the best death they could possibly have. They were in a platinum aspiration. I don't even remember who that was at this point, but so they had a wonderful life, and they have a platinum grave over there, and we wanted that to stay just lovely. And now I'm going to finish over here. The double graves that you see, that's the oldies on that side. So I tried to keep everybody together. Like if they were a married couple, that's like they have their little plots together. And then I wanted to use some of the new gravestones because I wanted it to look like they were older graves, and you're going to see me doing some of that. So a little bit about the death in my neighborhood while you're just going to see me decorate. because then I'm gonna do some plants. I also downloaded some plants, which I had a hard time doing, because I would constantly be crashing the game with plants. And so I did get some ground cover and some new trees, and they were working. So you're gonna see me add those too. Again, I'm like a little kid with a new toy. I had to use them. But so you saw Jennifer Burb was in here. She died of pneumonia. So one of my mods is that we have, it's a mod that makes your sickness worse, or it revs up your sickness. So if you're not really trying to get better, you can die. And I didn't take it seriously. It was like, how bad could it possibly be? And Jennifer Burb died. So that's where we are. So now you're seeing me add some grasses. I'm going to add hedges because, just like I said, you know, I needed to spruce up the place. And I really think that it's the plants that really make things look nice. So I actually added the flu mod because I was having a lot. I have a death during childbirth mod, and boy, that is a tough mod. So I have had a bunch of my women die during childbirth, and I thought, well, maybe the flu mod will change up who's dying in my town. And I think the first death then was Jennifer Burb. I was like, what the heck? So there are a lot of single men Sims in my town and dead women Sims in my town. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. So when I tell you it's a Christmas spooktacular, it really is. My game is very spooky. But I have a lot of mods that make my game tougher, because I think that the game, like The Sims 2 has a lot of consequences and a lot of weird quirks, but I feel like the game that is most interesting to play is the one that is harder. Like when your game is too easy, you lose interest in it. So I was going to take some of the mods out, but then I noticed I tend to play kind of the same way each time. And these mods force me to do something different. So I was going to just not save when Jennifer Burb died. And I also have another mod that the burglar lights houses on fire and it killed some people. They burgle, but they're also pyromaniacs or something, or arsonists. But anyway, and I left it go because typically, you know, these people, I play kind of the same stories over and over again. Well, with the way that it's worked out, Don Lothario married the maid, what's her name? Caitlin or whatever, Langrat. And she died during childbirth. She wanted 3 or 4 children, and I guess she wanted them to graduate from college. And then she dies during childbirth and leaves Don Lothario with 3 children. And he didn't want these 3 children. He's running around town. I think he's got 8 children or 9 children with other Sims. And so he's got this baby and 2 children and maybe a teen or a child and a teen, something crazy. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, you know, he's going to immediately, one of the other ladies around town that he's dating, he's going to move her into town. And so he did that. And I forget what the lady's name was. And he moves her into town. And then I think she rejected marriage with him or something. And then he was mad at her. So he had to break up and he moved somebody else in, because my feeling was Don's not sticking at home to raise these children. Oh, I love that statue of Grimm. Like, doesn't this look so much better with all of these plants? So anyway, I do like how The Sims just gets crazy. So anyway, my mom and my daughter, who are some of my biggest fans, here we go with those 3 windows that I'm putting in this part of the church, this addition. So I decided the 3 windows is this thing, and you'll see why. But I decided this part is going to be part of the old church. So my daughter and my mom were saying to me, you're doing like a Halloween build and it's Christmas. So I decided, after I decided I liked the church and how everything turned out, I decided, well, maybe the fellowship hall would be bigger. And somebody was either having a Christmas wedding, okay, or the Christmas pageant would be happening. And so I decided we're going to decorate the church for Christmas. So, hey, everybody could be coming here for the Christmas pageant. I mean, this is the community church. or maybe somebody's gonna have a Christmas wedding. So I extend the fellowship hall, and you're gonna see me start to decorate for Christmas. And because my Sims do come here for their weddings and things like that, so that's how this became a spooktacular. Then I have John Burb come to check this lot out because I knew he was a platinum aspiration and I could use the weather machine to make it winter so I could have a live mode during winter. And as he gets out of his car, the ghost that you see crying at the beginning is his wife, Jennifer, who died of the flu. So she's crying, and then she haunts the lot the entire time that I'm trying to do the live mode video. So it's like, okay, only in The Sims 2. So I think that's kind of the fun of The Sims 2 is not only am I adding all of this extra nuttiness to it, but The Sims 2 itself has its own flavor of nutty because you just never know what the heck's gonna happen when you're playing. And yeah, anyway, I love the candle look in our old fellowship hall, and I thought this ended up looking really cute. When I went out and took it into the residential mode to get the podium, I also picked up, you know, when you go in to the radios when you're in your residence and it has that goofy snowman that plays the Christmas tunes. I put one in here in the fellowship hall and one out by the front gate. And so the music that you're hearing during this at the beginning and at the very end, I had John Burb turn on those goofy snowmen so that we could hear Christmas music. That's the only time I ever use that goofy snowman is when I'm having the holidays at my Sims. I do kind of like these snowflakes, and when I was decorating, you know, sometimes my crazy OCD kicks in, and I thought, oh no, they need a pole. And now that I'm looking at it, sometimes when I watch the videos after, I think, no, they look just fine. I could have probably left them without the pole, and I think the snowflakes looked cute. Here, I just felt that the walls were a little bit bare, and they needed some pictures. Like, what would you put up in an old fellowship hall? So I thought, you know, maybe just some faded old Home Sweet Home or, you know, church fellowship type pictures. I didn't really have much of anything, but I thought it ended up looking cute. And now you're going to see me come out here and struggle with the whole holiday idea. Because like I said, this holiday thing was after I was holiday shamed into why would I only want to decorate for death. And so I came outside and decided, okay, we need to do a little bit of decorating outdoors because if I'm going to have my Sims come here for the holidays and maybe there's a Christmas pageant or a winter wedding, what would the church actually look like? So I'm trying to think with what we have without me going to download more stuff. And I do really like how the look of the church is at this point and didn't want to change anything. But back to my Burb stories. So anyway, so John Burb is single and dating. Don does have his like third woman moved in with him, and she's helping raise the children. And I think the little baby is now a child, so we're that far. But yeah, my games can get pretty crazy. Lilith Pleasant also died during childbirth, but she's married to Dirk Dreamer, whose father Darren went crazy after his wife died, and all he wanted to do was resurrect her. So he gave up his life of painting and went into the paranormal career and got the resurrectonometer or whatever it's called. I don't know. And he spent his whole life. He's an elder. Finally, he resurrected his wife. And so he was able to give that to his son. And now he has resurrected Lilith, who keeps talking to vampires. So I don't know. I'm thinking she wants to go to the dark, evil side. So here we are again, back in live mode. And there she is crying, Jennifer Burb. And it was John who was here checking out the church. And we can hear a little bit of the Christmas music. And there's our lovely fellowship hall. I think it turned out great. We're going to have some stills now at the very, very end. I want to thank you all for watching. And I really appreciate all of your comments. I wish you happy gaming. Thanks and bye-bye.